Let's welcome now our political panel. Republican strategist Andrea Kaye and Democratic strategist Jonathan Harris. Wonderful to have you both. Thank you for being here. Jonathan, I'd like to start with you. We still have a lot to unpack with this planned partnership, or merger as it's being called, between U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel. A lot of unknowns there. President Trump clearly believes, though, raising the tariffs on steel imports will further secure the steel industry here in the U.S. What implications do you see as a result of this increase in both the long and short term?
Well, we always kind of run into the same issue, right? Which is, if he does these tariffs, he doesn't still, after being president for 4 years before and now, and that gap in between, doesn't seem to understand that tariffs are something that consumers pay. And so it puts a strain on consumers. So he's still struggling to understand that so far in. Number one. Number two, we have his fun new nickname that he doesn't like, which is Taco Trump, which is Trump always chickens out. So we don't know if he's even going to follow through with it. That seems to be the problem. Every time, he says he proposes tariffs, there's the backlash, and then he goes, oh, well, let me make a change to this. Let me make an exception for this company, or exception for that company, or an exception for this. And then he usually ends up chickening out. That's why he's got that taco nickname. So it's hard to even know what's going to come of this, because it's hard to know what policy he's going to be standing behind by the end of next week. So it's a shame, again, because what the EU said is right. The EU said that they were disappointed. I want to make sure I have the word right, that they regretted his decision. And it's silly. It's foolish. It's like what he's been doing for the past 5 months. He's throwing the global economy into chaos. He crashed our stock market. He's done all this crazy nonsense. And at the end of the day, he backs off. And so, it's hard to even predict what he's going to do, but it's definitely something that's completely unnecessary, that puts our economy and the global economy into unstable territory for absolutely no reason.
Well, I do want to dive into that acronym and his response in just a few minutes. But first, Andrea, I'll give you a chance to respond. Also, I do want to add that this does come as a second federal court blocked the bulk of President Trump's tariffs on Thursday, the president appealing. What impact do you think that ruling is going to have, and also a chance to respond to Jonathan's comments there as well?
Well, wow. Let me help Jonathan out with a lot of things there. First of all, the stock market is not the economy. There are many Americans that live their entire lives without ever having a dime. I didn't interrupt you, Jonathan. Please let me finish. There are many Americans who spend their entire lives never putting any money in the market. Okay. The economy has to do with production, gross domestic production. Okay. And the manufacturing sector, all sectors across all industries of the United States of America has been decimated. And it is not just an economic issue, it is a national security issue. We don't make any of the things that we need to rely on as a nation. And there is no other way and no better way to restore manufacturing back to the United States than to no longer allow other countries around the world to eat our lunch. The only way in which we can compete around the world is through these tariffs, because how else are American manufacturers going to compete with countries like China, who use slave labor that the Democrats used to pretend that they cared about? How are we supposed to compete against manufacturers around the world whose companies are subsidized by their own government? And it can seem like a complicated issue when you've got somebody like Trump who understands how to negotiate deals, and people like Jonathan appear not to understand. But it is a tool used to bring people to the negotiating table.
Andrea, you're the only one here who doesn't understand.
Jonathan, please. I didn't
You're
interrupt
the only one here who doesn't
understand.
understand.
Jonathan, please.
All right, Andrea,
please let
we'll
me
let you
finish
finish.
my point.
And then, Jonathan, we'll dig into that acronym as well.
Let me wrap with this. Already, that tool of negotiations has brought in commitments of $5 trillion of investments into this country, and that's hundreds of thousands of jobs.
So I appreciate that point, Andrea. Jonathan, I'd like to dig deeper into that acronym we were discussing a little bit earlier. The president was asked about this new term. This was apparently coined by some on Wall Street, some analysts there. And it says Trump always chickens out, as you noted. That's the acronym, TACO. The president answered a reporter who confronted him about it this way. We do have the clip.
But don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question. Go ahead. To me, that's the nastiest question.
All right. So he's clearly frustrated there. Do you think, Jonathan, calling attention to this acronym, along with this new federal ruling, disincentivizes countries to come to the table and present more attractive agreements to the U.S.?
I think the problem is, and I adore Andrea. We've been on many shows together, but she's very often wrong, and she's consistent on that here. Donald Trump is the only one who doesn't understand how tariffs work, and Andrea and Republicans along with her. And doesn't understand that I never said the stock market was the economy. Donald Trump is the person who kept saying that the stock market was the economy, and he wiped out $10 trillion in 3 days from our economy, from the stock market in, I think, April. My point was that when you put these tariffs, and I said this very clearly, Andrea, listen closely, when you put tariffs on these things, they are paid by the consumer. And so you're right when you say that there are a lot of people that don't have access to the stock market or don't participate in it. But you're wrong when you don't understand that these tariffs, when you go into Walmart and places like Walmart and Target and these other retailers say that they're going to have to raise prices because of the tariffs. That everybody feels. And so I don't know where I lost you on that, but I was pretty clear on it. My
I
point
didn't
was
actually
that Donald
address
Trump
that
has
point, Jonathan. I didn't
Donald
actually
Trump has
address
been,
that point, Jonathan.
All right,
I'm
go ahead,
happy.
Jonathan. We'll give
been,
Andrea 30 seconds to respond in just a minute because we are up against the clock. Go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah.
Donald Trump
Well,
has just
first of
been
all,
a
one of the
failure
comments you made.
across the board with these tariffs. And I think the reason he doesn't like the T.A.C.O nickname, quite frankly, is because it calls him out for exactly what he's done. He's done nothing but cause chaos. And at the end of the day, his spine is made out of jelly and he backs down.
All right,
And that's
Jonathan,
why he's gotten that nickname.
we'll give Andrea 30 seconds to respond. Go for it.
Thank you. First of all, the nickname is so trite. If I was Trump, I would have refused to respond to that. Trump is trying to turn around the Titanic away from the iceberg, okay? And if tariffs were so devastating to the country that was imposing them, Canada and all the other countries around the world killing us with tariffs wouldn't be imposing it on their own citizens. As for us paying the price, we have paid the price for being addicted to cheap goods and fast fashion to the detriment of this country. We have got to stop doing that. We've got to realign and reinvigorate and bring back manufacturing into this country for the future, for the survival of the United States. And this is a powerful tool in which to do that.
All right, Jonathan, Andrea, we have to leave it there. Appreciate both perspectives, and we all leave friends. Thank you very much.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Sure
Love you
thing.
too, Jonathan.
I miss you.
And new